The ink was dry, but the sting was fresh. Marisol stared at the receipt on table 4. Her eyes traced the numbers. Total, $42.50. Tip, $0. 0. In the world of a single mother working double shifts, a 0 isn't just a number. It's a loud, ringing silence. It's the sound of the light bill not being paid. It's the sound of the grocery cart getting smaller. Marisol looked out the window of the diner. The man who had sat there, the man in the expensive tailored coat, was already gone. He hadn't been rude. He hadn't been loud. He had just walked away and left her with nothing but a blank space where hope used to be. But before I tell you how that 0 changed Marisol's life forever, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were working your heart out, and the world just didn't see you? If you believe that a single act of kindness can turn a life around, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and in the comments, tell me one city you are watching from. We are building a community of hope here, and we want to know you're with us. Now, let's go back to that rainy Tuesday in Cedar Ridge. Marisol was 27 years old. If you looked at her hands, they told the story of a woman who had lived twice that long. They were red from dishwater and tired from carrying heavy trays. Every morning at 4:30 a.m., while the rest of the town was dreaming, Marisol was awake. She was packing a lunch for her 4-year-old daughter, Ella. She was tucking a drawing Ella had made, a messy sun with a big smile, into her apron pocket. It was her lucky charm. Cedar Ridge was a town the world had forgotten. People stayed there because they had to, not because they wanted to. Marisol worked at the Greasy Spoon, a roadside diner that saw a lot of travelers. Most people were just passing through. They looked at Marisol, but they didn't see her. To them, she was just the girl who refilled the coffee. She was the person who cleaned up the spilled ketchup. She wore her exhaustion like a second skin, but she never let it show in her voice. "More coffee, sugar?" she'd ask with a smile that was real, even if it was tired. Then, during the late afternoon rush, he walked in. He didn't look like he belonged in Cedar Ridge. He wore a dark coat that looked like it cost more than Marisol made in a year. His shoes didn't have a speck of dust on them. He sat in a corner booth, away from the noise. He didn't look at his phone. He didn't read a book. He just sat there, watching the room with quiet, steady eyes. His name was Grant Hollowell. Marisol didn't know that name. She didn't know he was a billionaire who had built empires. To her, he was just a man who looked a little bit lonely. She treated him like royalty, not because of his coat, but because that's who Marisol was. She noticed his coffee cup was half empty before he did. She brought him extra napkins before he had to ask. She even noticed the way he looked at the little drawing of the sun sticking out of her pocket. "Is that your artist?" he asked quietly. His voice was like velvet, deep and calm. Marisol beamed. "That's my Ella. She's 4. She thinks the sun follows her everywhere she goes." Grant nodded. He didn't smile, but his eyes softened. He ate his meal in silence, paid with a black credit card, and walked out into the rain. Marisol walked over to clear the table. She picked up the leather folder, and that's when she saw it. The 0. Her heart sank. She felt a lump in her throat. She wasn't angry, she was just defeated. She had worked so hard to make his stay perfect. "I guess the drawing wasn't that cute to him," she whispered to herself. She reached for the plate to take it to the kitchen, but the plate was heavy. It was stuck to something. She lifted the ceramic edge. Underneath, there was a piece of paper. It was folded neatly. On the front, in perfect handwriting, it said, "Marisol." Her pulse started to quicken. She looked around. The diner was quiet. She slipped into the booth where he had sat and opened the note. It didn't say, "Thank you for the coffee." It said, "I have spent my life watching people. Most people look for what they can get. Very few people look for what they can give. Today, I saw you give your dignity, your kindness, and your patience to a room full of people who didn't say thank you. This is not a tip. A tip is for service. This is an opportunity, because I think you are meant for more than table 4. Tucked inside the note was a check. Marisol's hands shook. She looked at the number. It wasn't $1 million. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was $5,000. To a billionaire, it was pocket change. To Marisol, it was everything. It was the rent. It was the car repair. It was the chance to sleep for 8 hours without wondering if the lights would be turned off. But there was something else. A business card. The Hollowell Foundation. We invest in people. That night, Marisol held Ella closer than ever. She smelled the shampoo in her daughter's hair and cried quiet tears of relief. But she was also scared. The note called it an opportunity. That meant work. That meant change. The next morning, Marisol sat in her old, beat-up car. She stared at the phone number on the card. Her heart was hammering against her ribs. What if she wasn't good enough? What if she was just a waitress? She looked at the drawing of the sun on her dashboard. She picked up the phone and dialed. The voice on the other end was kind. They didn't ask for her resume. They asked for her story. Over the next few months, Marisol's life didn't change like a movie montage. It changed like a garden. Slow and steady. Grant Hollowell didn't just give her money. His foundation gave her a mentor. They gave her classes in business management. They taught her how to lead. And the most amazing part? Marisol didn't leave the diner. She bought it. Fast forward 5 years. The greasy spoon is gone. In its place is Ella's kitchen. It's the heart of Cedar Ridge. The paint is fresh. The flowers are bright. And the smell of homemade cinnamon rolls fills the air. But it's more than a restaurant. It's a hub. Marisol hires other single parents. She created a small daycare area in the back, so her employees don't have to worry about their kids while they work. She pays a living wage. She turned one man's tip into a lifeline for an entire town. And once a year, a man in a tailored coat walks in. Grant Hollowell. He always sits in the same corner booth. He always orders the same black coffee. And he still leaves a 0 on the tip line. Because he knows that Marisol doesn't need his change anymore. She has already changed the world. He leaves a note instead. And every year, the note says the same thing. I was right about you. You see, sometimes the world feels like that empty receipt. It feels like you're giving everything and getting nothing back. But remember this. Someone is always watching. Your hard work, your kindness, and your character are being noticed. Even when you think they aren't. Sometimes, the biggest blessing is hidden right under the plate, waiting for the moment you're ready to see it. If Marisol's journey reminded you to keep going today, please share this video with one person who feels like they are at the end of their rope. Before you go, I have a question for you. If you were given an opportunity check today, what is the first thing you would do to help someone else? Write it in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you for being part of the Tales by Nanya. Remember, what looks like nothing today might be the start of everything tomorrow. We'll see you in the next story.